Hello and welcome to Night Clerk Radio. This is episode 137, October 2025, new music. As we are back once again to look at some recently released albums. Listen to some recently released albums, I should say. And I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Birk. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm tired. I'm confused. I didn't know we were supposed to listen to the albums, so I just stared at the cover you sent me.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah.
For a week.
Well, we can
Instructions unclear.
I suppose I should have been more clear.
No, I'm good.
Ignore previous instructions, Birk. Listen to the albums.
Okay. Oh, my God. You're absolutely right. This album is amazing. You've really created a great album.
Yes, let's dive into it. But of course, now as we were beginning to do, we have shout outs to go over first.
Yeah.
You want to start us off?
Sure. So I got a music heavy set of shout outs. I usually try to do a variety of things, but today I was just getting caught up on albums, just feeling music. So stuff I want to shout out. So let's just go down my list. I got number 1, Lego Pirates from Dreamcastle, who has been crushing it all this year with these Lego themed albums, really going to like late last year. I think actually it's been a year since Lego Castle came out, or almost.
Oh my God.
I know, right? I think it was late 2024, but who knows? Time is fake. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, Lego Castle, we talked about, loved it. This is kind of a similar idea. It doesn't have as, the visual album is like commercials and other media. It doesn't have all the skits like Lego Castle had, but it's got like great, I don't know, like plunderphonics, pirate feel. Like it's just all the various pirate sets of those, which I had the ship at the very least. We got pirate synth, as he called it. It's super fun. Stuff's awesome.
Nice.
And I've been meaning to mention this.
Cool. I do like that the each track title has a little 4-digit number, which I assume is a Lego part number.
Yeah, like Lego Castle is the same way.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it. My first, not all of mine are music, but my first shout out is an album that Caleb told me about, a recently released album called Raga Wave by Tef Company. And it is
great. Yeah, Tef rules.
Yeah, it is a classic vaporwave, but using Bob Marley and reggae as its basis. And it's just great vaporwave. Caleb actually invoked it in a game, a role-playing game that he ran that set on a cruise ship, where it's like, oh, they're playing Raga Wave as you're shooting the bad guys. It's like, oh, nice. So I've listened to a bit of it. It's just, for me, I do appreciate reggae music. I do like listening to it. But like, for me, every time I've gone to a tourist place anywhere in the world, like all the little touristy souvenir shops, they almost always play Bob Marley. Like they have all these kitschy little tchotchke shops with little bags and stuff made in China that have little symbols or, whatever place it is, but it's always playing Bob Marley. And so it's just Bob Marley is tourist music for me at this point. Like
it's unfortunate, but I get it.
Yeah, exactly. It is unfortunate. Like, come on, Bob Marley's legacy deserves better, but vaporwaving, I think is a one step closer to, removing the tourist taint from it. So,
all right. Yeah, I'll check that out because I do like Tef a lot. Next up on my list, I have a collaboration between Notorious Secret, who we've discussed many times previously, and Lost Traveler, who's come up in the context of doing some really cool vaporwave out of Peru and South America. And they did a collaboration album called Lost Secrets. I just want to shout out because I was listening to it. I really liked it. It's got a great visual album from everybody on Wave Squad contributed to it. Great accompanying visuals, lots of fun music videos being put on like Solodolo and Crispy Doodle's YouTube channel, and just classic late night lo-fi vaporwave. Super great. I don't have a whole lot else to say about it other than if you're looking for more excellent classic vapor and you've liked the other stuff from Notorious Secret and Lost Traveler that we've talked about on the show, this is definitely going to be up your alley.
Nice. My second shout out is going to be way more generalized, but I just want to give a shout out to the concept and the director commentary tracks on DVDs and Blu-rays, because it's sort of a lost
feature.
Yeah, it's already like not becoming like a feature on, like, they're already not making them anymore for newer movies. Like I wanted to get the, I love the movie Nope, and when the Blu-ray came out, I was, oh man, I can't wait to listen to the commentary with Jordan Peele talking, and there's no commentary. Like, dang it. But recently,
they barely release physicals anymore.
That's right? True.
So they're not going to go out of their way to get people to come in and talk about it. It has to be a special release, like what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was reminded of how fun director commentary tracks are for movies you already love and appreciate and you've seen multiple times. I've watched In the Mouth of Madness with which I've watched many times. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies. But I watched it with the commentary track with John Carpenter and the producer of the movie, Sandy King Carpenter. They're married. And it's just a delight as Josh Carpenter's talking about how much he loves wide angle lenses. And every time he narrates what happens on the screen, it's like, oh, there's something demonic happening. The door is bleeding and pulsing. And John's like, oh, that's not good. And Sandy King is like, oh yeah, well, someone on we shot in Canada and somebody on our production team knew a lot about finance. And so he told us how we could do currency speculation by converting the currency between Canadian and American dollars. And we did that with our budget. We made like $100,000. So like just funny little anecdotes and little insights, like mixed in with just the most like, oh yeah, well, here's Sam Neill and he's going to go crazy in this scene, and like, oh boy, you don't like it when there's blood on their face. It's
true, John.
Yeah. It's just nice. Yeah, exactly. Just rambling around. Just there's another commentary on the movie, which I haven't watched yet, where John's talking with the director of photography. So I'll probably do that at some point. But yeah, just if you have some DVDs and Blu-rays, like look at them, see if they have commentary tracks, and just put one on, and it's fun.
Yeah, I'm going to add to that, even though I don't always like the shout outs to get super long, but whatever, there are no real rules. You can do whatever you want. I agree. I love a commentary track. I'm going to give an era appropriate suggestion, which I think I've talked about before, but on YouTube, at the very least, someone has put up a rip of this where for Dark Place, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, classic show, they have a DVD commentary, but it's in character as the actors that played the characters in Dark Place.
Oh,
so he's doing the DVD commentary. It's Matt Berry, but he's doing it like as the actor who played the character and it's like a great, because there's no way you can write that. I don't think it's like too off the cuff. So it's just three people like improvising in character for like 2.5 hours. And then, that's what Dark Place needed is, another layer of meta.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've watched all of those. I know I watched some of them. I don't think I've watched the entire thing. So I need to.
Yeah. We'll definitely do it.
Yeah.
Sometime this week or
Hell
month. Yeah. All right, so then it's my turn for the third one. Last album, Tennis, everyone. A tribute to the late, great James O. Incandenza. I did not ever think I'd see something like this, this is Infinite Jest themed breakcore, electronica, nightcore. Some of it's very frenetic. All the, James O. Incandenza is the avant-garde filmmaker extraordinaire, is the father of Hal Incandenza, who's kind of the protagonist of like one half of Infinite Jest, like the Tennis Academy half of it, versus the halfway house of it. And so all the songs are, like references to either the book or like films mentioned in the book. It's like a tribute to his filmography. So it's indirectly like haunted too, because it's a filmography that doesn't exist. It's only like mentioned in passing in the book, obviously. It's just a really fun album. And it's a fun theme that I have to comment on just because I've brought up Infinite Jest kind of either half seriously or half jokingly on the show many times in the past.
I admire the commitment to the bit. Yeah.
And if you like really frenetic, I guess breakcore. Yeah, they even mentioned. they don't tag it as such, but it's in the liner notes where they reference it. It's a pretty interesting album. And the cassette, it also has like a beautiful cassette and vinyl released on Shatterfoil Industries. And it's by Hikita. Sorry, I should have said the artist. But yeah,
nice. Yeah, that cassette does look very good.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful art and everything. Yeah, like all the art and the graphic design for it is really, really good.
Yeah. Oh, there's a vinyl too. Fancy. Last shout out is a music video. This is Everything Is Fine by The Living Tombstone. It's a remix of an existing song. And this is basically Everything Is Fine is a take on the This Is Fine meme of the little dog surrounded by fire and as everything burns around him. And so this is sort of set up by Casey Green, the cartoonist who made This Is Fine. partially to promote. There's a This Is Fine video game coming out that they're working on, and the demo's coming out soon, and the game is going to be released in March. But this is one of those projects I really love because it's a bunch of different indie animators, independent animators that each do like 10 seconds of a 4-minute video, and so they bounce around. So you get a lot of like, if you watch any independent animation on YouTube, you'll probably recognize at least one of the artists. I mean, the Has Been Hotel people do a segment, and Louis Zong, who we've talked about his music before, he's also an animator. He did a segment, and it's just this really frenetic pop punk or like song, and it's very catchy, and it's this little dog being teleported through different universes, being ripped apart and put back together. It's got some incredible animation into it, so it's just a fun, cool little 4-minute music video, and it's just very fun to watch. And I love these kind of projects because there's been several, like, take an episode of Old Sailor Moon and everyone animates like a minute of it or 30 seconds of it, and like the Seymour steamed ham sketch, but everyone's animating 10 seconds of it. You know, I just love these. A bunch of animators get together and everyone does 10 seconds, kind of like an Exquisite Corpse or our RoboCop remake, but for, you know, cartoons. And this is, it's just a really fun music video. So
awesome. All right. You ready? You want to do some albums?
Yeah. And that is a sample from track 2, Rancor Imprisoned Stone is the name of the track. And the album is called The Gargoyles of Vyônes by Magnum, which is a St. Louis Barber Beats vaporwave artist / dungeon synth a little bit. It is inspired from the world of Clark Ashton Smith, or Clark Ashton Synth, if you get it. Yeah.
Clark explain it to me slowly and in great detail.
Clark Ashton Smith was a contemporary of H.P. Lovecraft, you know, a pulp fantasy writer who came up with some of the great old ones like Chautauqua and that kind of thing. So but anyways, that's what the name of the album comes from, but it has nothing to do with the album itself, which is this very interesting barber beat / trip hop kind of album, but with dungeon synth and prog rock elements to it. But the thing I found really interesting about it is that each track, the artist has actually listed what the samples come from, and also listed what they did originally. You know, in track 2, the one I just played, the sample is from a song from Divana, Amongst Kalina Scrolls, and the drums are from Crazy Legs by Soul Tornadoes, but the bass, sax, and additional synth are from Magnum. So they're listing what they're doing. They're showing their work, you know, like what I did, what somebody else did. And I have never seen that before in a Barber Beats album. And it's super cool. And it's also just a really nice album to listen to. I mean, I do love trip hop and dungeon synth, and Barber Beats is a guilty pleasure of mine. So it's a very moody, slightly spooky, gothic trip hop album. But, you know, what did you think?
Yeah, it was interesting. So I to your one point, I'm really glad that they did take the time to, I don't know, cite their sources or whatever you want to call it on each track, because I sort of figured some of it out on my own because they have all the sample lists. But it's interesting because a lot of the samples are either dungeon synth themselves. So it's starting to be like, well, I mean, are they just really like volume boosting this much, or like what else is going on here? Which is where all the other original instrumentation comes in. And then, the choice of drum samples are interesting throughout, because it either is like funk, like late 60s, early 70s funk classics, like in the sample U, just read off, or some either are also like they do pull from post rock as source, which is why you get some of that feel in there. If you kind of go through all the samples on all the tracks. Yeah, I thought it was a fun, interesting idea because originally I was like, Barber beats Dungeons. And, all right, what do you do there?
Yeah.
And they did go an interesting direction with it. It's a great atmosphere album. Like a lot of like good gothic-y stuff going on. Definitely, especially like the first, I don't know, minute or so of the first track. Because one thing is these tracks are actually all pretty long. Like the shortest one is about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of time to just let these like drums and synths kind of hang out. And some have more, I don't know, like tone shifts throughout the songs, like especially like track 5, which is 14 minutes, and the Clutch of Fairing Talons. And like, I don't know, like it's just, I can see the appeal of it as like a put on, I don't want to say in the background because it always sounds dismissive, but it is something you can just kind of let float and listen to while you're doing like working or whatever. Yeah. In that regard.
You know, one thing that just occurred to me is as we're talking about it, I feel like this is a kind of music, like if you're doing a very hip modern reboot of Scooby-Doo, this is the kind of music they would be playing while they're investigating the creepy old mansion or whatever. At least for some. Yeah. Like there is a kind of like a gothic like feel to it in some of the tracks.
Sure.
Yeah. It's almost whimsical at times, you know, but it's still like, it's not ambient. It's still got a beat. It's still moving forward. It's got some energy to it. And, you know, adding having that sax in the sample we just played is really cool. And there's only 5 tracks, but they are very long. You know, it's like a 43-minute album, I think, altogether. So it's got a good length. But yeah, that's it. Just I remember those old Scooby-Doo tracks are kind of like light spooky. You don't want to go full horror movie soundtrack, but you want to be, you know, it's a little unusual. Like there's a lot of interesting, like literal instruments being used. I know for one of the tracks they use a mellotron, which I found a interesting choice. I think that's track 3. Track 3, The Object of Unclean Desire.
Oh, that's...
Yeah. With that, someone also wanted the flute and the piano.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think something like track 3, I can definitely see going to your like investigative horror point of Scooby-Doo as an example.
Yeah.
But some of the other ones, like one thing I thought with this album is that a lot of times the drums are like, I think especially in track 1, you know, Tears of a Moonless Autumn, when those drums come in, they are loud and they are like driving, like they take over the mix. And I think in some of those tracks, I think of that as being less of like the spooky investigation. Like it's interesting. It's another way of like kind of that driving through the track. That's one thing I did notice. I was like, sometimes when those drums come in, they feel loud. And I don't know. Yeah, I went and listened to some of the original samples, and maybe they have better quality access to better quality stems that they pull this from. But like the drums are boosted.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
which you really notice. So it just comes through like something just comes through loud, which does contribute still to like a soundtrack kind of feel, but just like you just get a different picture in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, if I like the first thing I thought of when I listened to this album, this is trip hop. Like this is like a hip hop influence album more than anything else. And the strength of the drums definitely contributes to that. So
yeah, they almost like take precedent over the dungeon synth aspect in some parts because, you know, they'll just take a drum loop and just run it for, you know, 4 or 5 minutes, maybe of a 7-minute track. It feels like sometimes. Not maybe not that long, but it does feel like when those drums come in, like you do hear all these different changes and stuff going on underneath, but they become like the dominant. It's like dungeon beats. I don't know if you picked this because we had talked about like dungeon synth beats.
I was actually trying to find like a new spooky album. Like that's how I started listening to this. And it's like, wait, this is kind of interesting.
I know we made jokes about like beat driven dungeon synth. They're like tavern bangers, I think I called them.
Oh yeah.
A couple months ago.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that part of it. But yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I don't know if you were trying to take me up on that challenge.
No, I mean, I guess I kind of did.
Succeeded.
Yeah, I did. But like, it was like darker, you know, like it's, you know, the Gargoyles of Vyônes and like appropriate for October.
Yeah.
And also like once I started listening to it and I looked at the Bandcamp page and it's like listening, look at each track for more information. I looked and saw the samples listed, and then like here's the original instruments I had. I was like, oh, okay, I've never seen this before in a Barber Beats album, so I'm like, all right, this is worth talking about just for that. But you know, it does have it does veer into Dungeon Synth territory. So why don't we listen to a bit of track 4, The Hammer of the Stone Carver, to hear that. It does veer into Dungeon Synth at times, and it's got samples other Dungeon Synth. That's where it's getting it from. Like this track took from a track from Finwalker called "The Spore of Battle on a Northern Wind." But then the drums are from Mary Jane Hopper's "Don't Change Nothing." So like, it's an interesting combination. And yeah, the last track is actually the one that really made me think more of horror and like, you know, Scooby-Doo stuff, because like, that's the 14-minute track. That's the longest one. And it opens up. It sounds like a giallo film. Like it's got this organ and piano layered on each other. And then it kind of veers back into, you know, like rock. And it's like a whole horror movie score in one track. There's a lot of movement in the last track called "In the Clutch of the Farron Talons."
Yeah, it's a cool find.
Yeah. And even gets like it's King Crimson from the Court of the Crimson King, or the
sure.
Yeah. So a lot of variety, and also takes from Mortis. Let's see here, Radagast, Lamento.
Yeah,
Dex.
I saw Radagast and a few others, Prism and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of Dungeon Synth names.
Yeah.
Even some of the ambient samples they give are like Dungeon Synth ambient, like more ambient Dungeon Synths. One of the tracks, I think track 3, which we were talking about, that one has a Bark Psychosis sample, which is like a post-rock band. It's like a 20-minute track. So they took some piece of that. Yeah, it's an interesting mix.
Yeah.
And I think I talked about the drums coming in loud, but I think it does navigate those genre switches or blending fairly well. I think once you get into it, because it definitely caught me off guard at first, because I didn't look or read anything. Like when you send me stuff, I just hit play and it starts off, like the first, I said the first, 30 or 60 seconds or so of Tears in Moonless Autumn is more like just like gothic choir.
Yeah.
And then just this like big drum sample drops in and I was like, what is happening? This big Ronald Stein drum sample. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's certainly different. Like I'm a fan, I have to say. And I kind of hope more Barber Beats artists take this approach of like showing their work, right? Like listing what they sample, because then and then talk about what they do originally, like, because I'm really interested in that. Yeah, I think that's the key. So yeah, I'll be digging through Magnum's back catalog a bit too.
Yeah, they have a fair bit. I was looking. Yeah.
So anyway, fun album, appropriate for the spookiest of months. And if you want to go investigate a cursed mansion with your AirPods in, like this is the soundtrack for it. So.
was a bit from track 10, Wish List, off our second album today, which is Infinity Vol.II by Navigator. So Navigator is longtime experimental electronic music producer, artist. I think sort of like Mesh or something, they do way more than just vaporwave, even though they're maybe connected to that scene. So this is an artist that I've wanted to cover. It's been on my list. I feel so blessed this year where so many of the people on my list of like, boy, I sure hope this person releases an album so we can do it on a new music episode. I feel like this year has just been crushing it because we got another one that's been there. I really, really dug this 2020 album, Direction, another like great genre blend of like chill wave and pop and new jack and all kinds of stuff. So this is Infinity Vol.II. It's a follow-up to Infinity Vol.I, which came out, I think, over 10 years ago at this point. I think it was 2014.
Yeah, that's
when it came out.
Yeah.
So wild to revisit that. And I love this album. Truly, they describe it in the liner notes as genre surfing. And that's truly what's going on here. You have everything from like glitchy, hyper cut up like sample flips in through like chill wave and through ambient and soundscapes and lo-fi and just some great beats, great production, super fun. You want to listen to every track because everything has so much going on at every moment. It's one of these like densely, richly produced albums where it's like the way I was thinking about it in my head is sometimes you'll see somebody like a virtuoso just like crushing it on like a violin or like a guitar or something. And I feel like some of these recent artists we've been talking about that do this really intricate, like very complex production, I get like the same vibe. Like, man, I wouldn't even know where to like begin to put some of this together.
Oh yeah.
And craft everything and produce it and mix it and have it all come out so ultimately cohesive for something that does so much. He also did like the album artwork, which is like a really cool abstract collage of photos and textures and shapes. And there's a little bit of everything on here. Like I said, it starts off, it's one of these albums that has, where the back half is actually the half that ends up really speaking to me, because as I talk about all the time, I'm really into like more of the ambient soundscapey down tempo, chill side of things. So the first, like 5 or 6 tracks, I mean, really the shift is around track 9, but the first like 8 tracks are really great. A lot of cool drums. I don't know. It's a lot to go through. I do feel not stylistically similar, but I feel like when trying to talk about that Mesh album where there's like so much going on that I don't know where to begin talking about it or like discuss it in a way that feels adequate. So for example, I picked track 10, Wish List, which is you're roughly in the middle of the album and where I think it starts to switch into, to me, a chiller back half. And I picked this as the first sample because I've talked about albums have those holy shit songs where you're like listening to it and then one song you like it because you keep listening to it, but then one song kind of like breaks you out of like, oh, I listened to everything and then maybe I'm listening to it again while I'm playing a game. And like what track kind of like shoots through your attention and like grabs you and makes you realize like what you're listening to. And I thought it was this. I don't know why. Like I love through the middle of this track, that sample I played, there's like these great synth toms against like all these arpeggiators and drums. There's like this awesome like syncopation, which I just loved. And that's sort of like what really, really, really hooked me into the second half of this track. But there's also a lot of fun, like plunderphonics stuff. I'm pretty sure Baller's Choice, track 5, is just having fun with all the different ways you can kind of cut up the guitar intro to Private Eyes by Hall & Oates. I'm almost certain that's what that guitar sample is, but it's sped up and like shifted up slightly. I'm 90% sure. I don't know. Maybe I'll get bamboozled. Sometimes I get bamboozled on some of these samples where they mess with it. So I'm glad that I decided to check it out. It was pointed out to me by a bunch of people independently, just random DMs of like, oh, you should check this out.
Nice.
You should check this out. So, thank you to everybody who kind of pointed me to it. What did you think?
It's like infectiously joyous, as I would put it, especially the first half of the album. Yeah, it's very charming. It's a very danceable album. Yeah, it's tagged as synth pop and chill wave, but like it's like bright sunshine and fresh air. It is so such a happy album, which is definitely nice to hear these days. And I do agree with your assessment that there is a kind of shift at the halfway point. I really like the track gen as well. Like that halfway point in the track with the vocals is it's just nice. But yeah, once you get right past it, like track 12 and 13 gets a little spacier and calmer. It's like sci-fi kind of feeling to it. And then you get more like of an R&B feel later on. But yeah, it's still a fun and upbeat album. Like I kind of want to explore more of this, synth pop and these sort of areas in the future, because it's just a nice change of pace. I do like the use of like the sort of stuttering effect throughout the album. Gives it a lot of energy, keeps it very lively. And yeah, and you're right. This shows so much technique and sophistication on the part of the artist. Like it is so effortlessly dense, I guess is a way to describe it. So you could tell that a lot of work and thought and consideration put into each track, but it doesn't sound like it. So this is sort of like Navigator's sort of like main genre that they work in.
Yeah, I think they probably wouldn't like to be attached to one genre. But I feel like it has a lot of the intricate production I really liked in Direction. And I also think people should check out Infinity Volume 1 just to kind of see how far they've come with some of these ideas.
That's a good point. I think I will do that myself because I did have a lot of fun listening to this.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time just saying that like this is one genre. I mean, unless that genre is just like really intricate production work or a wide range of like samples and feels. Because that's one thing with this album that I just want to emphasize, even in the first half, which I didn't mean to like downplay, like it's still good. But for example, like track 3 Atlanta has like several like great shifts in tone, especially the back minute of it where it goes into like really ominous, like dark hip hop almost. I loved that feel change at the end of that. And it's just, it's funny because I was saying there's like the whole range of emotional experience on this from these more like kind of sort of dark and ominous beats to, I'm going to play a bit from track 17, Tear It Up. So this is from the last minute or so of this track, Tear It Up. Sometimes read it, Tear It Up in my head. I don't know, maybe that also works. Where it just is like this, it just felt like an old school like 90s club anthem to me. Because it's like big and driving and like hopeful in a weird way. I think I also got hooked on it because I was convinced that some of the synth lines under it are from DuckTales, but I don't think they are after further investigation. But I was like, man, that would be an absolute banger one to slip in under all this.
What a pull. Yeah.
But it wasn't, I don't think. I'm 90% sure it's not.
Barbara Beaters, just intro. There's so many great Saturday morning cartoon songs. Like just remix those, man. Like
this was specifically the famous Moon theme from
the game.
Like the game, the NES game. It's not though. I just had it in my brain for some reason. But I just love it. Other stuff from the back half of this album I really, really liked. I'm just going to shout out tracks I liked. Some of these like late album, beautiful jams. Like track 18, Sunrays, and track 21, The Springs are two great, like chill, really, really beautiful tracks. And then the other thing I broadly wanted to shout out is this track has some amazing snare, either samples or recordings or constructions However, they build those where both track 19 Drown and track 7 Nature, like especially Nature, like the snare crack on that mix is so good. On top of like wild little sax pieces mixed in. There's just so many good little bits in every track that it's just really, really, really a joy to listen to.
Oh yeah.
Really, really fun.
No, there's so much craft in this album and so much very like it never, again, I put on some just like lo-fi hip hop or whatever, and it's all the same. It's fine. It's whatever. But like, this is like, oh wow, this is super cool. This is super interesting. Like just the compare and contrast between that. So it's really fun to listen to an album where someone's taken a lot of care and really no sleeping on any of the tracks. It's all, yeah. The thing is, when I first started listening to this album, the first half I was like, this is really Birk really like this, huh? Interesting. I would not have associated you with this. Well, I can, by the end of the album, I was like, oh no, I get it.
Yeah, I definitely, for my long established, I guess entrenched tastes at this point tend to lean towards the second half. But I've been, I guess, really working, or have been unknowingly building an appreciation for more of this like danceable electronic, like in the first half, and really starting to like, even if it's maybe not what I would put on like a whole album of it, to like work to or something, right? Which I've talked about, like it's hard for me to like work to that type of music. I'm really building up like a big appreciation of all the craft and skill that goes into making it and doing it well. And I think that's where a lot of that comes from too.
Yeah. You want a hopeful album to listen to. This is a really fun album. A really good pick. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We had a lot of fun digging in, virtual crate digging to find these albums, and had a lot of fun listening and talking about them. Our next episode, we're going to be talking about a genre of music, VHS pop. We're VHS popping our way through the podcasting. Should be fun. And if you want to talk more about music, if you want to get even more Night Clerk Radio, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/nightclerkradio. We have a decent backlog of Patreon bonus episodes where we talk about all kinds of topics from horror and deep music picks. And we have a Discord community that's very fun where we talk every day and share links and all that. We are on Blue Sky. We technically have a Facebook page. We have a website, nightclerkradio.com. Please rate and review us on whatever podcasting app you're using, Spotify, Apple, whatever. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your frenemies. Tell your rival whom you have sworn to defeat but can't stop thinking about them. Whatever anime cliche you're into these days.
Well, maybe you're in VO and reading their haunted diary out loud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but anyway, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.